For me, it all started when I adopted my dog. I didn't realize how easily she could have ended up in a high-kill shelter. And there are so many dogs that just aren't given the chance. I wanted to make sure that we were trying to create a group effort to donate a larger amount of money, but also to help animals in no-kill shelters that need supplies, that need food, that need blankets, anything where there was something that I could do to help. I wanted to bring a community together. Underground music has always been a part of my life. The first thing that I thought was, somebody should do this. Somebody should put together a show where we had a bunch of bands that were playing and donated the funds raised to a no-kill shelter. I started asking other people, I started asking other bands, I started asking friends, would you go to something like this? Would you attend something like this? The response was overwhelming. The response was immediately, I want to be a part of this. I want to participate however I can. I want to volunteer. I want to play the show. How can I help? Making sure that we brought this community together was the most important part. Involving a community like an underground metal scene, it was a no-brainer. Everybody that I know is so passionate about their dog, their cat, having a pet in their life, but also passionate about music. Bringing the two together was just a perfect marriage.
So NKLA is No Kill Los Angeles, and Best Friends Animal Society started the initiative in 2012, and our goal is to make LA a no-kill city. So we're trying to help all the cats and dogs at the 6 city shelters in LA, and we'd love to see LA become a no-kill city and eventually the whole nation. My whole life I've always loved animals, and it's so amazing to be able to come to work and be a part of this where so many people, you know, from staff to volunteers to amazing people in our community like you guys care about animals like Honey here and want to make a future where every animal has a home. I think what's amazing about animals is animals are so unifying. You know, it doesn't matter what your politics are, what kind of music you're into. That's what I think is really cool. You can kind of put aside your differences for animals.
I think that people need to be responsible pet owners. I think that if you want to own a pet, you want them to be in your life, to be your companion, you got to understand that they're part of your family. So the initiative is important because, again, pets are not a pest, they're a companion. So by killing these animals simply because it's inconvenient is not acceptable.
If he was in another shelter, like, he wouldn't have made it. Nobody really wanted him. And yeah, it's important to him because it allows him to have a new life. People can come in and take these dogs that would have never had a chance.
So many people, thinking it's better to buy from a store, not knowing that you can get like defective or sick, disease, crossbred or inbred puppies from them, and that probably won't live as long. But it's perfectly great, loving animals in shelters, especially kill shelters that are being put down, sadly, by the droves. A good dog, an older dog, give them a chance. Or a younger dog, puppies especially, they're all they love, and it's definitely important because they have no voice. So why not do it for them,
I think that there are too many animals out there that are basically waiting in line to get killed. That's pretty terrible because I think all these animals deserve a second chance. I was able to give this dog a second chance. This is something that everybody needs to know about. I believe that this is something that shouldn't be limited to Los Angeles. It should be spread across the whole country. All of these stray animals getting killed is something that's really happening.
We actually give a fuck about animals a lot. A lot of us happen to be big animal lovers, including myself. My guitarist here, Dakota, my bandmate, Robert, who couldn't be here right now, but I mean, he's got a bunch of dogs who are all rescues, and myself, who rescued the one cat that I have. I mean, I don't regret it one bit. I love my cat to death. I love animals. They're just little amazing creatures that make you feel a certain way that really nothing else can. And it's kind of the same way that music makes you feel a certain way that nothing else can. Go to a shelter, visit a shelter, see what it's like. Look at these animals' faces, play with them. I mean, they'll give you the time to get acquainted with an animal. It's just like a fire raging inside these little animals just waiting to just escape. but a lot of these animals don't get that chance and they end up being euthanized.
A lot of times we do events with a business or an organization that's like, hey, we want to have a charitable component. But you guys are, I think, one of the only groups that were literally like, hey, we're just a group of friends and we want to do this thing to help animals, which is really cool. It's different. It's not some big company that's like, hey, we want to do a benefit dinner, you know? It's just literally the community coming together, which is so important.
It's a good way to get the message out, and I have plenty of metalhead friends in the community that have love animals and try to do what they can to help them out.
My initial thoughts when I found out about the Metalheads for Shelter Pets was like, this is freaking amazing. So, you know, playing, you know, metal is a big community, all about unity and support no matter what. And for this to come about, you know, this is an extra step in taking to speak up for the pets who have no voice, and, you know, finding a lot of people who have adopted pets and sharing the stories of how they found them. And me, might have my little fur child, you know, I'm just like, oh, do it for Toby. So this is a great thing. I was totally 100% for it.
When I first heard about the fundraiser, I got really excited because it's a great way for the metal community not only to get together and meet and network, but it allows them to achieve a greater purpose. So whenever there's the opportunity to go out and do more with the music, I'm always all about it. So I got very excited when I heard about the fundraiser.
My initial reaction when I found out about Metalheads for Shelter Pets was that I was excited and that the show was going to be thrown to raise money and help the initiative. And I was like, fuck yeah, that's fucking awesome. You know, I would love to be a part of that. I can only hope that our band can raise money for something that, you know, really means something, but we're actually a part of something bigger, you know, something with a higher cause, so to say. I just thought that's so cool. Like, I'll do anything to make sure that that happens, that we can do this.
I think that most metalheads, they go towards a cause, I think, in a lot of ways. And I know that in general, a lot of me, and as well as my friends, like to support something, especially for pets. We all have pets. Being behind something like that is beneficial not just to us, because, you know, I think we all need a companion, as well as the fact that you're doing something to help something other than yourself. My observation of the crowd was kind of like there's this comic, this animated like cartoon that shows this metalhead kid walking down the road, and it shows a bubble above his head, a cloud like of you know, anger and frustration, and you know, he's just walking just pissed off, and then a cat crosses his path and he's just, kitty. And I think that in a lot of ways, I think that we all kind of, since we're all kind of the downtrodden, we're the black sheep. You know, a lot of us when we're involved in this sort of thing, it's mostly because we are different. And I think that in a lot of ways, when we support something like this, especially getting together as we're doing something that we love, which is music, but in the same time, we're also doing something that we care about, which is helping pets, helping animals, helping our friends.
It was just overwhelmingly full of support, enthusiasm, and it was just incredible. You know, the last tour was just super beneficial. We made a lot of money, helped a lot of pets, giving them everything they need, from food, blankets, any supplies that the NKLA needed as well. And it was just a really great thing. I'm looking forward to the next one.
It was so cool to see all these people that came together to share their love for animals. It was really cool. I loved everyone was coming up to me, people were talking to me about their animals, and that's what, again, I think is so cool.
I first got involved with NKLA, volunteering with my wife, actually going to the city shelters and pulling dogs to bring them to the Mission Hills location to get them, you know, out of the shelter. Seeing animals open up when they're shut down after their arrival here is really like one of the greatest things. It's really what it's like all about, is just especially like working with them, going in and like sitting in a kennel when a dog's like kind of scared, and just like knowing that it's benefiting them, just keeping them company, not even necessarily interacting with them, but just getting them ready, getting them more opened up, and just to be around people.
The process for someone to adopt an animal here, it's pretty easy. We do an open adoption process, meaning it's all done same day. We try, instead of creating obstacles for people to adopt, we want it to be more of an educating, simple, kind of conversational process. So we have them come in, they take a look around, see possible candidates they may be interested in adopting. Then we do an on-site counseling session where we kind of go over their situation, their setup, go over medical and behavior notes that we have on the animals. We do meet and greets, let them have some bonding time with the pets that they're interested in, and then we give them a couple minutes to kind of decide if they would like to take the animal home right then and there or to think on it. So some of the resources that we have to assist with adopters here is all of our animals are fixed, spay-neutered, they're microchipped, and they're up to date on their vaccines. We also work with them in the counseling session based on the needs of that specific animal. We have a ton of behavioral resources for them depending on the needs, again, of the animal. We are always here as a resource for them to call in, whether if it's information on how to acclimate their new pet or just general pet information at all. One thing that I do enjoy that we provide is that people can kind of look at our available pets online and get a little bit of information on them. We have a great team here that makes videos on the pets to highlight their characteristics so people from the comfort of their own home can see who we have here and then schedule a visit.
Since we began our involvement with Summoning Retribution, I have adopted a dog. His name is Waffle. It was a great experience working with NKLA. All the knowledge that I received on the candidates that I was looking at, everything about them, even the facility is great. So I think that it was a very memorable experience. It was really unique just to go to a shelter that provided so much.
Even before the show, I had already had experiences fostering a shelter animal, and there's just this whole thing where you're going and you're taking an animal. It's not even just an animal, but you're taking something from a bad situation and you're helping make it better. He just had this whole shock in his face. I could see in his face, like he just didn't know what to expect. Like it was so different from, like especially for him, because he had anxiety problems. So it wasn't really a dog that was too popular. They have this sense of appreciation, it's very palpable. And as soon as I heard about this event, just thinking that I could give this feeling, not only to other people, but to other animals, I just have to do it. I just have to do it.
How I've been involved in adopting, fostering, donating, I myself have adopted 2 dogs through 2 different pet rescues. And I think it's important that people should look into that avenue over any other avenue, simply because you're not just saving the life of that one animal, you're actually saving the lives of 3 animals. So I mean, in the end, you're doing something monumental, because if you donate, if you foster, you're giving your home to an animal in need. If you donate, you're giving money not just to help the animals in need, but you're giving medicine, you're giving food, you're giving space. Even if you donate to give your time, that's totally worthwhile. I mean, then again, how much money does it cost to buy a case of cat food, a bag of dog food? I think the reason why someone should attend shows like this is because you're gonna go to a show anyway. You're going to see a band because that's what you want to do. So why not invest that money into helping pets or helping friends? Or it's not just, it's a cause. You're not going to spend any more money than you would if you're just doing this to help a companion in need. So why not?
When we have more support from volunteers, volunteers are able to also do more. We're able to do more with the dogs. We're able to spend more time with the dogs to give them enrichment, and the volunteers as well, just jumping in there and giving the dogs all kinds of, tons of walks during the day and playing in the yard and stuff like that. It's really what it's all about. I would persuade someone that has doubts about volunteering. Start out slow, maybe walk a small dog or just hang out with a cat, and then once you get comfortable with walking this little dog, you might want to try walking a bigger dog. I'll see that too, with some of the newer volunteers. They're not sure where to go, what to do. It's awesome to be here, try out this dog. All of a sudden they're walking tons of dogs.
And it's been really cool to see the change. In the beginning, you know, when you say, well, we're Best Friends Animal Society and we have this NKLA initiative, a lot of people didn't know what NKLA stood for, or talking about the importance of something like spay neutering and fostering. Not everyone knew what fostering was, but now we find at a lot of events people are like, oh yeah, I've heard of NKLA, or I adopted from there, or I know someone who adopted, I've fostered, I know someone who's fostered. And so that's been really amazing to see that change in perception, and people are becoming more and more aware of us.
In 2016, we got together 8 bands that raised over $900 just in one night, donating all of it to NKLA. Second year, we had 12 bands. We had 2 stages. It was bigger and it was better. And we managed to raise over $1,400 to this cause. Having this fundraiser really showed me how easily it is to bring a community of people together just to, you know, support this cause. Just to support dogs, cats that could possibly end up in a high-kill shelter. We're trying to go bigger and better than last year and the year before, just so that way we can make sure that we help NKLA reach their mission to make Los Angeles a no-kill city and also spread that initiative nationwide. Metalheads for Shelter Pets is not just for NKLA, it's not just to raise funds for animals, for dogs and cats. This is also to bring a community together of people that I know are so passionate about this cause in particular, but we're also bringing in vendors, we're bringing in food vendors, merchandise, we're trying to bring in as many people as possible that want to be involved in this fundraising effort, but are also passionate about the music. There will be more updates coming in for Metalheads for Shelter Pets 2018. We do plan on making some more announcements, but we'd love for everybody and anybody to get involved.